Hello, everyone. My guest today is Harrison Cheung, a contributing writer here at Brave New Hollywood and the author of Christian Bale, the inside story of the darkest Batman. Harrison, how are you?
Good, good, really good.
Harrison, I wanted to dive into the story that's been making headlines about Ruby Rose and the experience that they had on the set of Batwoman, which keeps evolving. This is an old story that's now resurfacing about the abuse that went on the set, what they came, meaning Ruby, reported, and now this week, Warner Brothers Television firing back and also in the process defending the other star of the show, Dougray Scott. It has become a he said, they said, she said kind of a
Yes.
story here in Hollywood. How much do you know? What can you say about this revelation?
Well, I feel sorry for Ruby Rose that she's in a position now of having to defend herself. Um, Clearly from her point of view, there was a toxic environment on set, and I think the producer. They have to decide how they want to address it, and if they're going to be defensive, there's not going to be any progress.
And it looks like Ruby has some receipts that were revealed this week. They was the one that complained and brought this to the attention of the studio.
Yes, I mean she has documented a lot of the issues that happened while she was shooting. So I think when one looks at it from a couple points of view, right? So from Ruby's point of view, from talent, from the actor, this is risky for her career to speak up like this, and that is speaking up. I think you have to give her credit, and that she has kept documentation. She's no fool. She's clearly ready to defend her position, and I think she really. I wouldn't be surprised if she had conversations with Warner Brothers way before she went public to see whether or not they would address her concerns. That's my guess.
And why do you think the studio suddenly spoke out and they decided to defend Dougray Scott, who also says that whatever Ruby is accusing him of, being yelling on the set, had not happened, and now Warner Brothers is taking the side of their lead actor who is still on the show. Why are they doing that?
That's a tough one. If I had to guess, I would say that Warner Brothers has decided they're going to defend the current cast and crew because if they don't, that might increase their liability. If Ruby Rose's accusations are all proven factual, then there would be a domino effect on who knew when, who knew what was happening when, and they would be liable.
And in the age of Me Too, now that we are all aware about what has been going on some of these sets, TV, film, don't actors and actresses have the right to speak out more than ever, or to defend themselves, or to create just to speak out and create a better work environment?
Absolutely, I think they should be speaking up, and I think the challenge right now, or well, the challenge has always been that there's been an inconsistency as far as process. So if you are the lead on a network show, depending on the network, depending on the production house, there would be an ombudsman that you could take your complaint up to. If you are not the lead, if you are, disposable, sad to say, you might not be in a position to complain about a toxic environment. Now, Ruby Rose, of course, she was the lead. She was the star of the show, and then she left mysteriously. So I think everyone knew that there was something wrong there.
This was a project that Ruby was passionate about. It could have not been easy for Ruby to leave this project, correct?
Absolutely. I mean, even if there weren't issues with the show, with production, for her to leave would always draw questions around her. People would wonder, why did you leave? Do you have any personal issues? Do you have commitment issues? It's not very professional just to leave when a show is just getting up and running. So I think she's probably been addressing those behind the scenes accusations, and now they're bubbling up.
Harrison, you touched on inconsistencies. I assume you meant inconsistencies in the entertainment business with the studios, TVs. Can you speak a little more about that?
I don't know whether I would single out Warner Brothers alone. I think in general, the challenge that the entertainment industry has had has been with inconsistency, how they dealt with on-set issues, how they dealt with the toxic environment, with potential sexual harassment on set. Look at one of my favorite examples, The Flash TV show. There were issues happening with one of the cast members because of a tweet a few years ago, and that person was immediately dismissed. But on the other side of the house, WB has the new Flash movie coming out, and here you have Ezra Miller, who was caught on tape beating up a fan, and they've taken a very different attitude toward Ezra Miller versus the TV Flash.
Grant Gustin, you mean?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, on today's movie, TV set environment, what do you think an actor, actress has to have for them to be able to stick with the project, go to work every day, and see it through? What sort of elements, what sort of safety nets?
As many safety nets as they can get. Definitely a production ombudsman, independent of the studio, independent of the production house. I think there should always be ways of reporting issues either directly or anonymously. Obviously, a lot of talent, especially if they're up and coming, they're going to be very concerned about damaging their prospects. I mean, sad to say, it's still a very often used phrase in Hollywood, you'll never work in this town again. So if someone gets that sort of threat, they're going to think twice before reporting any issues.
And touching on Dougray Scott, who is the other lead on the show, where does this leave him? I mean, he's a known actor, veteran actor, maybe not as big a star here in the US, but he also has the right to defend himself. Where does this leave him, do you think?
I think a lot depends on how the accusations play out. If the accusations are proven real, then Dougray Scott will face those consequences. If it's just he said, they said versus they said accusation, then I think it'll be left that way, because I think frankly, especially with male talent, there's always been accusations, but if you can't prove it, if there's no smoking gun, if there's no evidence, it might add to someone's background reputation. It may or may not harm their career going forward.
And now this is getting heated and nastier. There's blood in the water. Should the show be canceled?
I don't know how extensive the accusations go, whether it's just a couple of people. And again, if the accusations are proven true, is it enough to selectively remove people from production? Would it be enough to change out a cast member? Now, obviously, there's no issue with the new Batwoman. Otherwise, then you don't have a show again. Then the whole thing would have to be recast. I mean, so I don't know whether it'd be canceled. I think it just depends on how extensive it is. I know, there's been a couple other shows where there have been reports of a toxic environment, and the show has soldiered on. I'm thinking of ABC's American Housewife, just a couple of months ago, the show, one of the regulars, she quit. Carly Hughes. She quit the show, and she said there was a toxic environment, and that got covered by the trades. That they got rid of one of the producers, and they brought in sensitivity training with everyone else behind the scene.
Harrison Cheung, thank you so much for joining me for this chat, and we'll see you soon again on Brave New Hollywood.
Great, thanks.